I think there's really something to be said about taking your hobbies or your time to yourself at your own pace, you know? Being able to escape the rat race that is life and savor in the moments of something that you enjoy at a pace in which you can enjoy it at. Because let's be honest folks, if you feel like you're forced to complete something to a deadline, or that you need to keep up when you're playing a game, for example, well at that point you might as well go back to work and answer to your boss's demands again. But if I'm being honest folks, it almost feels as though gaming, especially multiplayer first-person shooter games in my experience, are starting to feel a bit like the very quote-unquote rat race that we're trying to escape in our day-to-day lives. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I log into a game these days, the very first thing I tend to notice are just the smorgasbord of progress bars and ominously counting down timers for daily, weekly, monthly, or seasonal challenges and battle passes that a game tends to put before you. Sometimes they'll be in the main menus or in between matches in loading screens. No matter on the specifics, they are always sitting there in front of you, almost dangling like this carrot on a stick, telling you, hey, if you want to get the most out of your experience with this game and you want to keep up with the player base, you got to do these challenges and complete the battle pass. Now, the very concept of challenges and chasing long-term goals is nothing new to multiplayer first-person shooter games. In fact, they were something that were a bit of a cornerstone in keeping those sorts of games alive for the long run for a bit there. I'm sure we all remember first launching up Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009 and delving into all of those challenges that the game put before us to get those unique and exclusive calling cards and emblems. The chase for those things was real, and when you finally unlocked it, assuming you weren't in a boosted lobby, it was almost like you gained a status in the community for doing something awesome. It was bragging rights. It was almost an accolade against your name, and it was the fuel that kept the fire burning under those games for so long. Now, yeah, that definitely still exists in games today. Mastery camo grinds, for example, are an example of the mastery challenge that you can grind out at a time that works for you. But it almost feels secondary to the obscene amounts of timed content or mastery challenges that are slammed in front of your face as precedents nowadays. It almost feels as though games are trying to normalize the rate in which their player base should be experiencing the content and the challenges that they present, as a constant reminder to get a wriggle on and snap to it and get to those timed challenges. And look, timers and the requirement to compete against the clock in these games doesn't explicitly rob the player base of the ability to experience that content or that challenge, assuming you put the time in, but it does strip the player base, in my opinion, of the ability to enjoy the content at their own pace, which in of itself poses a bit of a problem to me. The problem being that the agency that was once available to us as gamers, being able to enjoy a game that we paid for how we wanted to and at a pace of how we wanted to, has been kind of stripped away in the light of live service models and the time nature associated with them. And in my opinion, one of the biggest perpetuators, specifically in the multiplayer first-person shooter space, is the adoption of the Battle Pass. I think we can all agree that the Battle Pass style of content was truly popularized by the success of Fortnite Battle Royale all of those years ago. It was a free-to-play Battle Royale game that featured a plethora of cosmetics to unlock just by playing the game, assuming you put the time in and paid for the one-off fee to unlock the Battle Pass, which on the surface sounded like a pretty good deal at the time. You'd play the game how you normally would with no upfront cost to actually get into the game to try it out, and if you enjoyed it enough, well then you pay the one-off fee to unlock a ton of cosmetics and continue unlocking cosmetics as you played that would normally cost far more money individually in a storefront. You also got some sweet bragging rights for unlocking that epic skin that was at the end of the Battle Pass, similar to how you'd have that sweet bragging right for unlocking that sweet calling card in COD all those years ago. I mean, everyone was really winning in this arrangement, at least on paper. It was kind of revolutionary for the time. But fast forward all these years later, and well, you take a quick glance at all of the first-person shooters out there, and practically all of them now feature a Battle Pass. Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Splitgate had one at the time, PUBG, Apex Legends, Delta Force will have one, Polygon, X-Defiant, all of them, from AAA to indie, have a Battle Pass in them. Seriously, if you find an FPS game that doesn't contain a Battle Pass these days, like BattleBit Remastered, then it's almost considered a eureka moment, like a needle in a haystack, if you will. But because every single one of these games puts a time crunch back onto you, the player, to unlock all of the cosmetics and the content and the accolades that they offer, well, gone are the days where you saw a cool endgame cosmetic in, say, Halo, PUBG, and COD that you could work towards on your own time. No, now, because the content is locked behind a time-certain Battle Pass or paywall, unless you pick one, maybe two of these games to really main over the course of a season, you'll be hard-pressed to find yourself progressing that far down the Battle Pass at all to unlock any of these endgame cosmetics. And you'll also find yourself hard-pressed to make any real return on your initial upfront investment of acquiring the Battle Pass to unlock those mastery achievements, because, well, they just vanish into the ether at the end of a season. And to loop back to the point we were making at the start of the video here, in my experience, it really does make it feel as though you are sort of chasing the rat race a little bit there. You know, doing everything you can to min-max the experience in the game to keep up with the pace that the game's season is trying to operate at. I don't know about you guys, but there was certainly a little bit of time there where I wasn't keen on experimenting in the games that I was playing, you know? Trying new loadouts, trying new characters, or just doing dumb things in general. I wasn't keen on doing that because I was worried about missing out on the timed challenges and not getting the XP or the things required to stay on pace to complete the Battle Pass in the time that was required. I stuck to what I knew on the basis that I knew that it worked, and I was seeing success with it. And that was only exacerbated further when you jump into a game a few weeks or so late after a season kicks off, because there's always that sense of, well, I'm starting late, there's no real point at even trying to catch up unless I really min-max the shit out of this game. And that mentality, it burns you out. It kind of strips away the room for discovery, the room for trying new things, and in a way, the fun away from the gameplay in question, because you yourself lose agency of your ability to enjoy the game at your own pace. And when I think back to what gaming is truly meant to be, being an entertainment medium that puts the power back into the hands of the consumer to enjoy the experience how they want to do so, as someone who's been hard on those Battle Pass grinds before with the likes of COD, Battlefield, Apex Legends, X-Defiant, there was just a moment lately where I really came to a personal conclusion that I just can't really do that anymore. And I tell you what, folks, that's okay, because I've never felt better about my time in games as of late. It reminded me that there is so much value to just taking a step back, kind of like I used to when I booted up a game, and just taking the time to enjoy it at a pace that I can enjoy it. Completely separating myself from the flurry of challenges and timed hurdles that the gaming industry is throwing in front of us in these games these days. Hell, I've even been enjoying single-player games a whole lot more often lately, which are games that in of themselves are all about player agency, giving you a world or a campaign just to romp around in at your own pace, at your own difficulty settings, and just enjoy. Who cares if you aren't keeping up with the weekly challenges that go for a week? Go out there and try that dumb loadout. Maybe the weekly challenges are telling you to use a certain weapon, but you'd rather just switch your brain off and use a weapon that you know well and that you do well with. Just do that instead. Gaming is meant to be fun. It's not meant to feel like this chore list that you just have to complete. A lot of the reasons I see myself and my friends burning out at the moment is because we refuse to go against the grain, try new things, and enjoy the game in a way that's contrary to success. Because it isn't in line with what the game itself is pushing you to get X amount of XP and wins before that timer runs out, or else, oh no endgame cosmetics for you. And to that, I simply say, fuck it. Load that game up. Play that dumb loadout. Unlock what cosmetics you feel like unlocking at the pace in which you feel like doing so, and do what challenges will be fun to you in the time that it takes to complete them. The live service model in a lot of these games is a model that demands your constant, unabated attention, like a second full-time job, and one that demands that you play to a certain standard constantly to do well in. That model, when done in that way with a lot of these games, is one that does not respect your time as a gamer and as someone who is trying to simply switch off and enjoy the game in question, in my opinion. It almost feels like you're loading into a second job, constantly trying to appease to the great Battle Pass timer as you hit your KPIs for your matches. And it's something that I actually think has damaged the quality of the experience that we get out of the industry as of late. Again, especially in the online and multiplayer first-person shooter genre. Games really seem to be preying on the sense of FOMO at the moment, rather than crafting an experience that makes players want to stick around organically. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do about Battle Passes being the dominant form of microtransaction right now. I could jump on my high horse here and say we vote with our wallets and nobody buys Battle Passes, and then that'll send the message to the industry, but you and I both know, folks, that this video won't reach enough people to make that kind of impact. Battle Passes are here to stay, it's just the way of the industry right now, and we are very much stuck with timed exclusive content. But one thing that we can do as gamers is remind ourselves to simply take a step back and remind ourselves why we play games. To have fun, and to have fun at our own pace. Whatever that looks like. And even if that means you aren't going to get to the top tier of the Battle Pass or finish the missions for the week, that's okay. If you're still taking back that agency of how you enjoy the game that you're playing, then you're making the right steps, in my opinion. As a closing remark to this video today, the game I want to highlight here that does a fantastic job of not preying on FOMO while also being a decent live service experience is Helldivers 2. This game has been through a lot of controversy and trials and tribulations in its time, and it too features premium war bonds that act like battle passes. But you know what Helldivers 2 doesn't do with these war bonds? Put a timer on them. If you buy a war bond, you can play the game at any difficulty, with any strategy, earn the XP at a rate that you feel comfortable with, even take a long-ass break away from the game, and those war bonds will still be there waiting for you, even after the new ones come out subsequently, ready for you to unlock and progress as you feel like it. And that right there is what I miss about a lot of the games and their content offering these days. The ability to dictate how and when you enjoy the game, and still hold the ability to get the reward for it, putting the agency back in the hands of you, the player. And look, I'd like to say that Helldivers, especially after its most recent patches, has seen a lot of success as a result of this model, at least I like to think so. So I only hope that one day we see more developers and more games, especially in the multiplayer first-person shooter space, adopt this mentality and, you know, focus on creating a quality experience that doesn't rely on FOMO to keep its players around. But until then, folks, a friendly reminder that, yes, you can enjoy games at your own pace, and there's nothing wrong with saying stuff it to the time challenges and just enjoying the game for what the game is, rather than going for those mastery challenges that are time locked. If you guys managed to make it this far in the video, then I really appreciate it, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I hope we can have a great conversation about what you guys have been doing as of late to enjoy your games more often. If you guys are keen to see more commentaries like this from me, then do us a favor and hit that subscribe button on the channel. I'm planning on doing a few more videos like this and sort of delving into some more larger scale topics and conversations here as we branch out a little bit in my content. And if you want to keep the conversation going on my live streams, then first link in the description down below, you'll find my Twitch channel. Hope to see you guys there as well. It'd be great to have you part of that community. Oh, and our Discord's down there too. Hope to see you guys there as well. But until next time, folks, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.